She says, "My name is Emily Carter. I'm 23 years old, and the people who raised me were the same people who erased me. I used to think I had a normal life, a warm home, a loving mother, a father who didn't say much but showed up when it mattered. That's what I believed. That's what I held on to. Until the day I realized I had been replaced while I was still living under the same roof. It started the night my mom brought her in. 'This is Lily,' she said gently, resting her hand on her shoulder. 'She'll be staying with us for a while.' Lily, soft voice, perfect posture, eyes that never stayed too long on anything. She looked fragile, broken, and I felt sorry for her. I even smiled and said, 'You can take my room, I don't mind.' That was my first mistake, because she didn't just take my room, she took my place. At first, it was small things. My mom started cooking her favorite meals. My dad started asking her about her day. They laughed more when she was around, listened more, cared more. And I told myself, "Don't be selfish, Emily. She's been through a lot." So I stayed quiet. I adjusted. I disappeared, slowly. "Why can't you be more like Lily?" That sentence echoed in my house like background noise, every single day. "She's polite. She's grateful. She doesn't argue." And me? I became the example of what not to be. I tried to fix it. I really did. I spoke softer, smiled more, helped around the house without being asked. But no matter what I did, it was like I was already too late. Like they had already chosen her. The night everything shattered, I wasn't even meant to hear it. I was just walking past their room when I heard my name, and something inside me said, "Stop." So I did, and I listened. "We should update the will," my dad said. My heart skipped. My mom replied without hesitation. "Yes, leave everything to Lily. She deserves a fresh start." Everything. My hands started shaking. My vision blurred. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I walked in, slowly, like I was stepping into my own nightmare. "What did you just say?" My voice barely came out. They both turned to look at me, and the look on their faces wasn't guilt. It wasn't even surprise. It was annoyance. "Emily, this isn't your concern," my father said flatly. "Not my concern?" "This is my home," I said, my voice cracking. "My family." "Enough." My mother cut me off, cold, sharp, final. Then she looked straight at me and said the words that changed me forever. "You've always been difficult." Silence filled the room. I felt something inside my chest collapse. "I'm your daughter." I whispered it like I needed her to remember. But she didn't. She just sighed. "As far as I'm concerned, Lily is the daughter we wish we had." Behind them, Lily stood in the doorway, quiet, still, watching. And then, she smiled. Small, slow, victorious. That smile broke something in me. Not loudly, not violently, but completely. That night, I sat on the floor of my room, no, her room now, and stared at nothing for hours. No tears, no screams, just emptiness. Because the truth finally hit me. I wasn't losing them. I had already lost them a long time ago. I just refused to see it. But something else happened that night. Something they didn't expect. I stopped needing them. I stopped hoping. I stopped loving them. And when love dies, it leaves space for something else. Something colder. Something stronger. Something dangerous. The next morning, I stood in front of the mirror. My eyes were tired. But my expression? Different. Calm. Controlled. Unrecognizable. I looked at my reflection and whispered, a slow breath. And I was their daughter. A faint, chilling smile formed, until they made me their biggest mistake. She says, low, steady, emotional, "They took my home." Pause. My family. Pause. My name. Her voice drops. So now, a sharp inhale. I'm going to take everything from them. And this time, I won't be invisible. I'll be unforgettable. Part 2 is where they start losing everything. She says, "You know what the worst part is? It wasn't the betrayal. It wasn't even the moment my own mother chose someone else over me. It was how normal everything felt the next morning." My name is Emily Carter. I'm 23 years old. And this is the part where I stopped being the girl they could ignore and became the woman they should have feared. I walked into the kitchen like nothing had happened. Same table, same chairs, same people who shattered me the night before. My mom was pouring coffee. My dad was reading the newspaper. And Lily, she was sitting in my seat, smiling like she belonged there. "Good morning," I said softly. My voice didn't shake. That surprised even me. They looked up, just for a second, then went back to their routine, like I was background noise, like I didn't matter. Perfect. That's exactly what I needed, because invisible people hear everything. That day, I didn't argue, didn't question, didn't react. I observed. Every word, every glance, every secret they thought I wasn't paying attention to. And that's when I noticed something interesting. Lily wasn't as perfect as they thought. She lied. Small lies at first. About where she went, who she talked to, what she did during the day. But my parents, they believed her. Every single time. Because they wanted to. That was their weakness. Not Lily. Not me. Their need to believe in a fantasy. And I was about to destroy it. A few days later, I followed her. Quietly. Carefully. She left the house around noon, telling my mom she was going to the library. I smiled when I heard that, because I already knew. She wasn't. She got into a car. Not just any car, a black luxury car. Tinted windows, expensive, the kind of car that doesn't just drop people off. I memorized the license plate, took pictures, stayed hidden, and when the car stopped, I saw her step out, laughing, carefree, not broken, not fragile, not innocent. She walked straight into a high-end apartment building. No hesitation, like she'd been there 100 times before. That's when I knew. Lily wasn't the victim. She was playing a role. And my parents? They were her audience. That night, I did something they never expected. I sat down at the dinner table, smiled, and spoke first. "Mom, Dad, I think Lily deserves everything." Silence. They both looked at me, confused, suspicious. "What do you mean?" my father asked. I leaned back slightly, calm, controlled. "I mean, she's perfect, right? Responsible, honest. Better than me." My mom's expression softened, for the first time in weeks. "Yes," she said. "She is." I nodded slowly. Then I looked at Lily, straight into her eyes. And for a split second, I saw it. Fear. Good. "Then you should know everything about her," I said quietly. The room shifted. The air got heavier. "What are you implying?" My father's voice turned sharp. I reached into my bag, pulled out my phone, and placed it on the table, screen facing them. "Go ahead," I said. "Look." My mom picked it up first. Her eyes scanned the photos, then widened. My father leaned in. His expression changed, from confidence to confusion to something much darker. Pictures of Lily getting into that car, laughing with a man twice her age, walking into that building, not once, not twice, but multiple times. "That's not possible," my mother whispered, her voice trembling. I didn't look at them. I looked at Lily, and this time, she wasn't smiling. "Do you want me to show them the rest?" I asked softly, my tone calm, but deadly. "Emily, stop!" Lily's voice cracked. Ah, there it was, the real her. "No," I said, tilting my head slightly. I think they deserve the truth." My father slammed his hand on the table. "Explain this, now." Lily looked at them, then at me. And for the first time, she realized something. She wasn't in control anymore. But this was just the beginning. Because I wasn't doing this for justice. I wasn't doing this to prove a point. I was doing this to break them. The same way they broke me. She says, low, intense, emotional. They thought I was weak. Pause. They thought I'd stay silent. A slow breath. They thought I'd disappear. Her voice hardens. But now, a chilling pause. They're about to lose everything. And the worst part, they still don't know. This is only step one. Is where the real damage begins. She says, "And if you think what I did at that dinner table was revenge, you're wrong. That was just the introduction. Because real revenge isn't loud. It's not emotional. It doesn't explode in one moment. It unfolds. Slowly. Painfully. Unavoidably. After that night, nothing in the house felt the same. The silence? It wasn't peaceful anymore. It was heavy, awkward, fragile. My mother stopped smiling. My father stopped trusting. And Lily? She stopped pretending. But here's the thing. Breaking their illusion wasn't enough for me. Because they didn't just believe a lie. They chose it. Over me. So I decided, if they wanted to see me as nothing, I'd become the one thing they could never ignore. I started with my father. He built his entire life on reputation, business deals, connections, respect. He cared more about what people thought of him than what he did to his own daughter. So I dug deeper, into his company, his finances, his so-called perfect image. And it didn't take long. Men like him, they always hide something. Late nights, secret calls, documents that didn't add up, accounts that shouldn't exist. I didn't confront him. No, that would be too easy. Instead, I collected everything, every file, every transaction, every lie. And then one morning, I made a single anonymous call. By afternoon, his office was under investigation. I still remember the way he walked into the house that day. His face pale, his hands shaking. "What did you do?" he asked me, straight, direct, like he already knew. I looked at him, calm, unbothered. "What do you mean?" I said softly. For the first time in my life. He didn't have power over me. That broke him more than anything else. But I wasn't done, not even close. Next was my mother. She didn't care about money. She cared about image, perfection, control. So I gave her the opposite. I started small. Whispers, rumors, carefully placed truths in the right ears. About how she treated me, about how she replaced her own daughter, about how she blindly trusted a stranger over her own blood. People talk, especially in her world, within weeks. Her perfect life started cracking. Friends stopped calling. Invitations disappeared. Smiles turned into judgment. I watched it happen, quietly, carefully. One evening, she walked into my room. No, my space, because I had taken it back by then. "Why is everyone treating me like this?" she asked. Her voice, small, confused. I looked at her. For a moment, I almost felt something. Almost. But then I remembered her words. "You've always been a burden." So I smiled. Soft, cold. "Maybe," I said, "they're just finally seeing the truth." She didn't reply. She just stood there. Broken. And Lily? Oh. Lily learned the hardest lesson of all. Because once my parents started doubting her, they didn't stop. They questioned everything. Every word. Every move. Every lie. The same way they used to question me. And she couldn't handle it. One night, I heard her crying. Begging. "Please believe me.
I didn't mean to lie. I stood outside her door, listening, not helping, because now she finally understood what it feels like to not be enough. But here's the truth they still didn't see. This was never about Lily. Not really. It was about them. What they did, what they chose, what they destroyed. And now, they were living inside that destruction. She says, slow, powerful, emotional. They took my voice. Pause. My place. Pause. My worth. A deep breath. So I took their peace. Her tone darkens. Their reputation. A chilling pause. And their control. And the scariest part? I still wasn't done. Because the final step of revenge isn't breaking them. It's walking away. And making sure they can never reach you again. She says, and this is the last time I'll ever tell this story. People think revenge ends with destruction. That once everything is broken, it's over. But they're wrong. Because the hardest part of revenge is what comes after. The silence. After everything I did, the house felt empty. Not physically, emotionally. Like the walls themselves had given up. My father barely spoke anymore. The investigation had taken everything from him. His reputation, his confidence, his control. He spent most days sitting alone, staring at nothing. A man who once ruled every room, now afraid to even answer his phone. My mother changed too, but not in the way you'd expect. She didn't become stronger. She became smaller, quieter, like the world she built so carefully had collapsed on top of her. And Lily? She was gone. She left one night without saying goodbye. No drama, no explanation. Just disappeared. The same way she entered our lives. And suddenly, it was just us again, a family. But this time, there was nothing left to hold us together. One evening, my mother came to me. Her eyes were red, her voice barely there. "Emily," she said softly, "can we talk?" For a moment, I saw it. Not the cold woman who replaced me, not the one who called me a burden, but someone broken, someone who finally understood. "I made a mistake," she whispered. "I lost my daughter." Those words, they should have meant everything to me. Once upon a time, I would have cried, run into her arms, forgiven her instantly. But that version of me didn't exist anymore. I looked at her, calm, distant. "You didn't lose me," I said quietly. "You gave me away." She broke, right there in front of me. But I didn't move, didn't comfort her, didn't fix it, because some things don't get fixed. That night, I packed my bags, not out of anger, not out of pain, but because I finally understood something. Revenge isn't about staying and watching them suffer forever. It's about leaving and making sure they live with what they did. I stood in my room one last time, looked around slowly. Every memory, every moment, every version of me that once lived there. Gone. I walked to the front door, my hand resting on the handle. And for a second, I hesitated. Not because I wanted to stay, but because I realized I wasn't the same girl who once begged to be loved. I had become someone else. Someone stronger, colder, unreachable. The door opened. Cool air hit my face. Freedom. Behind me. A voice. My father. Weak. Broken. "Emily, please." I didn't turn around. Because this time, they were the ones calling my name, and I was the one walking away. She says, soft, final, powerful. "They took everything from me." Pause. And I took everything back. A slow breath. But the real victory? A faint, distant tone. "I no longer need them." And just like that, I stepped forward and never looked back.